Remember that day when the sun was setting behind the horizon and dark shadows began to fill the streets? I walked along a narrow alley, feeling each step taking me deeper into darkness and my soul filling with unease. It was quiet, too quiet for this time of day. The unusual silence made my senses tense, as if I were expecting something inevitable. Suddenly, I heard a rustle behind me, and my heartbeat quickened. I turned around but saw no one. In that moment, a feeling of unfamiliar fear gripped me, as if someone was watching me from the darkness, but I couldn't discern their face or outline. A wave of cold pierced through my entire being when I felt a touch on my shoulder. I turned around, but no one was there. It was the moment I realized that in this darkness, there was something unholy, something penetrating the deepest depths of my being. And now, I couldn't escape it. As I pressed forward, the darkness seemed to coil around me, suffocating and oppressive. Every shadow whispered of unseen threats, and the chill in the air sank deep into my bones. Despite my growing unease, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. It was as if unseen eyes followed my every move, their gaze penetrating the veil of night. The sound of footsteps persisted, echoing through the empty streets, yet no one appeared. With each passing moment, my apprehension deepened, and a primal instinct urged me to flee. But where could I run in a world swallowed by darkness? Dread gripped my heart, tightening its icy fingers around my soul as I stumbled deeper into the abyss. Suddenly, a faint glow pierced the darkness ahead, drawing me like a moth to flame. Hesitant but driven by curiosity, I followed the light, each step echoing in the empty expanse around me. As I drew closer, the source of the light revealed itself a dilapidated mansion, its windows aglow with an eerie luminescence. The sight sent shivers down my spine, yet a strange compulsion urged me forward. Stepping over the threshold, I was met with a musty scent that hung heavy in the air. The mansion creaked and groaned as if alive, its walls whispering secrets long forgotten. Exploring its labyrinthine corridors, I stumbled upon a room bathed in an ethereal glow. In its center stood a mirror, its surface swirling with otherworldly energy. Mesmerized, I approached, unable to tear my gaze away. As I peered into the mirror, my reflection wavered, distorting into grotesque shapes that bore no resemblance to my own. Fear gripped me, yet I couldn't look away. And then, in the depths of the mirror, I saw a pair of eyes, black as night, staring back at me with malevolent intent. With a jolt, I realized the truth: the darkness had found me, and it hungered for my soul. With a gasp, I stumbled backward, my heart pounding in my chest like a drumbeat of impending doom. The eyes in the mirror followed my every move, their gaze filled with a hunger that chilled me to the core. Desperate to escape, I turned to flee, but the door behind me slammed shut with a resounding thud, sealing my fate within the mansion's walls. Panic surged through me as I searched for another exit, but every door I tried was locked tight. In the suffocating silence, I could hear whispers echoing through the halls, their voices taunting and sinister. Shadows danced on the walls, twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes that seemed to mock my terror. Driven by instinct, I retraced my steps, hoping to find a way out of this nightmare. But the mansion seemed to shift and change, its corridors twisting and turning in on themselves like a labyrinth designed to trap its prey. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I stumbled upon a hidden passage concealed behind a tapestry. With a surge of adrenaline, I tore it aside and plunged into the darkness beyond, praying it would lead me to safety. But as I ventured deeper into the hidden recesses of the mansion, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being herded like a lamb to the slaughter. The darkness had claimed me, and now it sought to consume me whole. As I navigated the hidden passages, the air grew thick with a palpable sense of malevolence, as if the very walls were alive with malice. Every step I took felt like a descent into madness, each turn leading me further into the heart of darkness. The passage twisted and turned, its walls closing in around me like the jaws of some unseen predator. Shadows danced on the walls, their movements taunting and mocking, as if they reveled in my fear. With each passing moment, the darkness seemed to grow more oppressive, pressing down on me like a suffocating weight. I could feel its icy tendrils creeping into my mind, whispering twisted thoughts and filling me with dread. But even in the depths of despair, a flicker of hope remained, a dim light at the end of the tunnel. beckoning me forward with the promise of salvation. Ignoring the screams of doubt echoing in my mind, I pressed on, driven by a determination born of desperation. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I emerged from the passage into a small chamber bathed in moonlight. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which rested a single, glowing orb. With trembling hands, I reached out and grasped the orb, feeling its power course through me like a bolt of lightning. In that moment, I knew that I had the strength to overcome the darkness, to banish it from this cursed place once and for all. Armed with newfound resolve, I set out to confront the source of the darkness, ready to face whatever horrors lay in wait. For I knew that only by confronting my deepest fears could I hope to emerge from this nightmare unscathed. As I ventured deeper into the mansion, the oppressive darkness seemed to intensify, clinging to me like a shroud of despair. Every step echoed through the empty halls, each sound a reminder of my isolation in this twisted labyrinth. Yet, despite the overwhelming sense of dread that weighed heavy on my shoulders, I pressed forward, driven by a determination to confront the source of the darkness and reclaim my freedom. With each passing moment, the mansion seemed to grow more decrepit and decayed, its once grand halls now crumbling with neglect. Shadows danced along the walls, their movements erratic and unnerving, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling before my eyes. But amid the chaos, I glimpsed a faint glimmer of light, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. Following its guiding glow, I found myself standing before a set of ornate double doors, their surfaces etched with ancient runes. With a deep breath, I pushed open the doors and stepped into the chamber beyond. What I saw took my breath away, a vast, cavernous space filled with towering pillars and twisted statues, their forms distorted and grotesque. At the far end of the chamber, atop a raised dais, sat a figure cloaked in shadow, a being of pure malevolence, its presence suffusing the air with a palpable sense of dread. But despite the fear that threatened to consume me, I stood tall, steeling myself for the battle ahead. For I knew that only by confronting the darkness head-on could I hope to banish it from this cursed place and find the peace I so desperately sought. With every ounce of courage I could muster, I approached the shadowy figure on the dais. As I drew closer, its form began to coalesce, revealing twisted features and eyes that burned with an otherworldly fire. Without a word, the creature lashed out, its claws slashing through the air with deadly precision. I dodged and weaved, narrowly avoiding each strike as adrenaline surged through my veins. But despite its ferocity, I refused to back down. With a primal roar, I unleashed a barrage of attacks, striking at the creature with all the strength I could muster. The battle raged on, each blow echoing through the chamber like thunder. And then, in a final desperate act, I summoned the power of the orb, channeling its energy into a blinding burst of light. With a deafening roar, the darkness recoiled, its form twisting and writhing in agony. And then, in an instant, it was gone, banished back to the depths from whence it came. As the echoes of the battle faded, I collapsed to my knees, the weight of exhaustion washing over me like a tidal wave. But amidst the rubble and ruin, I felt a sense of peace, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. For I had faced my fears and emerged victorious, reclaiming not only the mansion but also my own soul. And though the scars of battle would remain, I knew that I was stronger for having faced the darkness head-on. With a weary smile, I rose to my feet, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For I knew that no matter how daunting the journey, I would never again be consumed by the darkness.